Alrighty, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got some Arbite True Solo content. I'm going to do a review and first impressions of the patch and the Arbite class. I got the patch notes up on screen. I'm just going to read through them and give you my honest thoughts. I hope you've all been enjoying the Adeptus Arbites. I find them extremely fun, pretty powerful. I've been enjoying myself. Now onto the patch itself. These are just going to be my honest thoughts. I think the patch itself was pretty dog shit. I'll just go over a few things. So my experience was, couldn't get into past operative selection. Chrysalis, Pickaxe Ogren, community member made our mod to get past that. So thank you to them, you know who you are. After that, couldn't actually get into a game because the play button was broken. I tried everything, changing mission, getting out of the mission UI, verifying Steam files, restarting the game, all that bullshit. None of it got my play button back. I ended up just saying fuck it and went to bed. Came back the next day, a hotfix was out, and then my game was running. Considering this was one of the most popular times since release for Darktide, I think you heavily dropped the ball there, Fatshark. I'm just gonna be fucking honest. Like, how does the Chrysalis pickaxe bug actually get through? Like, that's, to me, that's pretty crazy. And then a community member fixed it before you guys. Like, that's how I honestly feel about that. It was legit like 5, 6, 8, 12 hours, whatever the fuck it was. Or it's just literally unplayable. Now, moving on to the actual patch notes. Battle for Tertium. Before I continue, I will have the Arbite build after I go through the patches, what I think of them. I'm just going to talk about the patch first, then Arbite, and then I'll leave you with the true solo gameplay, whatever's left of it. So the Battle for Tertium, the new campaign, awesome, love it, good job there, Fatshark. We've been wanting and requesting this for a long time. I'm glad it's finally here. One of the things that they advertised was like a Dan Abnett story, and there was fuck all of that, if any. I don't know if this is even intertwined with Dan Abnett, but the fact that it's here, good job, I'm happy about that. Now the ranking up through the difficulties, I won't lie, as an experienced player, that was just fucking annoying. However, it is just a one-time thing. I think it is a net positive for the community, and I can look past just having to do it once. It is what it is. I think this is a net positive for the community, where you have to play through the difficulties and like earn your progression to the next level. Good stuff, I like that. Mission board rework. I'm not gonna lie, this is pretty dog shit as well. The right hand side of the panel I actually like. I think you need to make the icons a little clearer and bigger. They're kind of just like blurred pixels. But like the heresy, the play button, the quick play, or like the description on the right hand side, I like that adjustment. It's the left hand side. So where the actual like graphic of the hologram is, that's too bright. I don't know what it is, guys, but that's genuinely hurting my eyes. I've never experienced that on some weird UI shit. The second thing is, why is the outline of the hologram like bent? I don't know, it just looks tacky in a bad way. Third thing is, what is that dog shit filter that you're putting all over the pictures, guys? Remove that dog shit filter, make the icons bigger, make it clearer so we can actually start identifying these pictures with different maps. That's gonna be my suggestion. Make it like, the fact that I open my screen and the hologram looks bent and not like straight. I get what you're going for, but the execution's not there, guys. It just really isn't. Give this mission board another rework, fix it up. This is not it, guys. Mortis Trials, new difficulty, shorter time between waves. Waves will now have more enemies and enemy types, increasing variety. We are changing the base difficulty to match an auric difficulty mission. Fantastic, I like that. Still 12 waves, come on, 20, 25, 50 waves. Get this closer to like a COD zombie kind of feel. It still lacks that replayability. 12 waves is just not enough, guys. It's not. You want more time with all these OP abilities and stuff. Release more abilities, more waves. If you need to do some tweaking, adjusting, fucking do it. But I think there's a lot of potential to Mortis Trials, but again, the execution's just not there yet. New in-game event, Inferno. I actually really like this. Awesome. I don't like that these keep going away. Please start adding them to the actual game. Like the Walking Giants was one of my favorite events. Inferno is one of my favorite events, but I haven't seen Walking Giants since. Like, come on, guys. Start actually doing something with these events, not just fucking randomly a couple of times a year. It's, when I say a couple of times, like what, 5, 6, 7, 10 times a year. Just put them into the game. We like this shit. No Aquilas. I think you could have just gave us 250, 500. You're not breaking the bank there. Just start adding that, guys. You definitely made more than enough money with the Arbite release, let's be real. New frame, burn from the Inferno. Looks cool. Don't mind it. Pretty cool. I mean, nothing to say bad there. I think in general, the event is a net positive. I think the difficulty for Mortis Trials is a net positive, but just underbaked. I think the mission terminal UI is just a net negative personally. New Havoc campaigns, new mission pools, awesome. Pus Hardened is back in the mutators and pretty much the same modifiers as last season. I think we lost the blight spreads. I don't remember what it was, to be honest. What this practically, to me, what this means is ranged builds are going to really struggle in some matchups or some maps when you have Pus Hardened and rampaging enemies. So you have the reduced range damage plus the orange damage reduction. Things like Grenade Vet and Recon Lasgun, the things that work or use Infernus really well with some form of rending in your build, brittleness, whatever, they're going to be really good on those maps. I think this is like a targeted mutation on the plasma gun. That's how I'm looking at this. Encroaching Garden, Heinous Rituals. I don't mind Encroaching Garden. I'm not the biggest fan of rituals. I think you could have done with that personally and worked on it a little more. There's still a couple of demon hosts that are not consistent, and I don't know them like the exact maps truthfully, but it's just not consistent, you know, like you have a demon host and it's already on like the 5th or 6th stage of trigger distance and you just got into contact with it. You know the one I'm talking about, what map you gotta like jump down, it's across the bridge into the next room, but it's all one hub. You know what I'm talking about. Quality of life changes, more operatives, more loadouts, from 4 operatives to 8, and I don't know the maximum amount of weapon loadouts because I just use the 1 and change it all the time. Weird number to choose, 8. Why not 10? There's 5 operatives now, 2 of each, you know, that kind of makes more sense to me, but I mean, it's still better than nothing. Added a total of 900 approximately new banter conversations. If this reads how I think it is, conversations, not just lines. Awesome. I also want to know how many are actually noticeable in game, or if most of these are just conversations outside of game, you know, for like the new campaign cutscenes. So I'm actually curious to know how much is actually put into gameplay, but I mean, obviously I'm going to be happy with that. Quality of life changes, net positive. Weapon balance changes and tweaks, Catachan Devil Sword. Fantastic. I'm happy that they're giving some buffs to these weapons. I'll quickly go over the changes, but again, I'll leave a link to the patch notes themselves. First target damage from 40 to 80 to 60 to 80, light vanguard, awesome. That's pretty small buff, but we'll take it. Light strike down stab, ADM on Maniac from 1 to 1.25, awesome. First target damage 100 200 to 115 230. Second target damage 25 60 to 40 to 80. Cool, so we get like the first target damage and we're getting more like cleave damage added to it. I like the ADM from 1 to 1.25 against Maniac. You're definitely going to get some better breakpoints there, which is important. This weapon really struggles with breakpoints, which results in slow time to kills in Havoc. Heavy strike down, first target ADM versus unarmored 1 to 1.1. I'm assuming that will fix some breakpoints in Havoc. First target ADM versus unyielding 1 to 1.25. So basically, first target ADM is being buffed by 25% to unarmored and unyielding enemies. I actually really like that, especially if you're using the heavy strike down attack. Oh, sorry, these are for the riposte specifically. So heavy strike down, unarmored is 1 to 1.1 ADM. Unyielding was buffed from 0.75 to 1.25. That's a huge buff. Then the riposte ADM versus unarmored is buffed by 25%, versus unyielding by 25%, and versus carapace by 100%, 0.25 to 0.5. Really good, I really like that. I'm gonna have to experiment more with the Devil's Claw, see what we can do in Havoc now. Really good. And again, I don't know what this actually changed practically, but the fact that they're adding these buffs, that's what I'm talking about, that I'm happy. This is the right direction. All the marks added, allowed during sprint to most attacks and attack starts, making it more mobile, more fluid, okay. Block minimum time from 0.3 to 0.225. I believe that's a buff. I'm not too sure on that. Stamina base template from 4 to 4.5, awesome. Tweak damage windows, hitboxes, and ranges for several attacks. Updated inspection screen to correct some attacked gestalt icons. Visual change only. Yep, cool, awesome. Mark 1 added a new heavy strike down attack with 540 power level multiplier. This attack will chain only from light 3. Okay. Light 3 chain attacks now to light 2. New heavy strike down instead of light 1 heavy 1. Okay, so they're changing the moveset. We'll have to try this out. I like it. It just means it's something different, something new. Push chains now to light 3 heavy 1 instead of light 1 heavy 1. That makes sense with the change above. This attack only changed from light 3 with a heavy strike down, so now you can do a push light 3 into the heavy strike down. So that seems like a single target combo. Cool. I'll have to test that in game. Heavy 2 chain time start from 0.55 to 0.5, little bit more attack speed, awesome. Push chain time to start attack from 0.35 to 0.3, again just a little bit more fluidity and attack speed. Added 545 power level modifier to light 3 from default 500, awesome. It's just some more power for those breakpoints. Added 535 power level to push follow attack from default 500, cool. Mark 4 heavy 1 wind up from secondary start from 0.56 to 0.46, again just it's more of a attack speed fluid buff. Added 550 power level multiplier to light 4 from default 500, awesome. Mark 7 push follow damage profile from light strike down to light strike down stab, interesting. So that's definitely going to be like, typically stabs are better into carapace or single target entities, they're better than strike downs. Look at the dueling sword for example, or the power sword Mark 6's push attack. Repulse chain now to push follow heavy 1 instead of light 3 heavy 1. I'll just have to try that, see how that plays out. Added 535 power level multiplier to light 3 from default 500, awesome. Added 525 power level to push follow attack from default 500. Honestly, I really like these changes. I will have to do testing to see what this practically changes, but the direction, I like it. I think this is a net positive. Aatrox tactical axes. Damage profiles light assassin, added third target, heavy strike down diagonal ADM versus carapace from 0.25 to 0.3. Not bad. One of the weaknesses of the tac axe is the ADM versus carapace. Added a new heavy strike down profile for vertical and uppercut attacks with the same properties as heavy strike down diagonal, aside from first target damage from 100 200 to 150 and 230. First target ADM versus carapace from 0.3 to 0.5. Very nice. Special stab, first target damage from 2550 to 71. That's a huge buff. Removed crit chance bonus. I always did wonder why that had a crit bonus when it doesn't hit hard. So this seems like it's just going to be more in line with the rest of the weapon and just not a weird outlier weapon. I like that. Or attack, sorry. Special strike down, first target damage from 2550 to 6120. First target impact from 816 to 1020. Okay, removes special crit chance bonus. Yep, that makes sense. All marks sprint template from default to assault, forward acceleration from 0.15.4 to 0.4 to 0.8. Alright, so a much more mobile weapon. This might be even more mobile than the knife now, because the Aatrox tactical axe was already a weapon that was not used as much because it wasn't as powerful as other weapons in Havoc, for example, but it was a very mobile weapon. And now it's got more acceleration, better deceleration, the sprint speed modifier going from minus 0.5 and 0.5 to minus 2.5 and 0.85. Yeah, this weapon just got a lot more mobile. It may be faster than the knife now in some builds. Increased action total time for most heavy attacks. This will continue making the combo chain after the attacks more forgiving. Cool. Added allowed during sprint to most attacks and attack starts. Cool, so you can be sprinting and start your attack as opposed to having to stop or whip out your block, do a dive to then start your chain. That was pretty annoying. Tweak damage windows, hitboxes and ranges for most attacks. Buffer time for the special input from 0.2 to 0.4. Awesome. Quality of life changes. Mark 2 added power level multiplier 515 to light 3 from default 500. Added power level multiplier 550 to special 1 and special 2 from default 500. Very nice. The Mark 4 changed damage profile of heavy 1 and heavy 2 from heavy strike down diagonal to the new heavy strike down vertical uppercut. Very nice. So strike downs being vertical, better than diagonal, better access to that weak spot damage. That's a good change. Lower chain times to start attack speed and special attack from heavy and heavy 2 from 0.5 to 0.4. Yeah, cool. Just a little bit of attack speed buff. Quality of life, add a power level multiplier 515 to heavy 2 from default 500. Tiny buff there. I like it. Mark 7 changed damage profile of heavy 2 from heavy strike down diagonal to heavy strike down vertical uppercut. We just talked about that. Awesome. That's what you want to see. Vertical is better than diagonal when you want the strike down attack anyway. Add a power level multiplier 550 to light 1, light 2, light 3 from default 500. Oofed. Tac Axe Mark 7. Hello, baby. I'm definitely gonna have to play around with these, but I definitely see both of these weapons creeping up, becoming some pretty standard staple weapons in Havoc. Shock Maws as well. Interesting, because I like the Shock Maws. Light Strike Down. Damage from 100, 200 to 115, 210. Small buff. I'll have to see how that practically plays out like everything. Light Vanguard. Cleave from light to medium. Ooh. From 3 to 6 to 4 to 9. More damage and stagger. First target damage from 150, 100 to 150 to 110, 165. I'm assuming that's for a specific breakpoint because it's a very small change. Heavy Relentless. First target damage from 110, 260 to 120. 270, again pretty conservative. Heavy Strike Down Cleave from big to light from 8.5, 12, 15 to 3 to 6. A cleave nerf with the heavy strike down. Interesting, but I mean, I guess you're really using that for crushers or maulers and stuff anyway. It's about like just nuking that single target. Interesting nerf. I'll just see how that plays out. Maybe that just means you can't like whack like 3 Dreg Rages in a row. First target damage from 140, 350 to 160, 390. Okay, fair enough. So there's a big damage buff there. Fourth target damage override removed from 0 to 3050. I don't know what that means. Truthfully, I have to look into that. Light Relentless ADM vs Maniac from 0.8 to 0.75 nerfed. ADM vs Carapace from 0.75 to 0.04. First target damage increased 150 to 9165. I'll be honest, I don't think the lights need a nerfing. That's very interesting. You're like, we're nerfing the Shock Maul before the Dueling Sword. This should literally just like leave it for now. Like what? And they're very conservative buffs too. I don't understand that, truthfully. I'll see how it plays out, but I'm a little skeptical of that. Special attack, sticky damage tick from 1070 to 3080. Yeah, nice. Stun damage tick from 4050 to 50 to 65. Yeah, pretty nice. I don't really understand nerfing the lights, because you're typically chaining them with your heavies anyway. Again, I'll have to see how it practically changes out and how it feels, but whatever. Stamina template update, base stamina from 4 to 4.5. Nice sprint cost per second from 1.5 and 0.5 to 1.25 and 0.75. So it's a buff and a nerf at the same time. Inner block angle cost from 1.5, 0.5 to 1 and 0.5. That's a buff. Dodge template update, effective dodge limit from 3 to 4 to 3 to 5. From 4 to 5 maximum dodges at high mobility stat. Nice. So they're giving some actual options to have different dump stats. Dodge distance from 0.85 to 1 to 0.9 to 1.1. Dodge speed from 1.2 to 1. Interesting, so dodge speed nerf. Dodge distance buff increase with more dodges. Overall, I like that. The Mark 1A, light 1 damage profile from right relentless to light vanguard. Power level modifier 530 to light 3 from default 500. Buff added power level multiplier 550 to light 4 from default 500. Okay, so they're adding some extra power level modifier into the lights later on. Again, I'll see how it works. Tweaked hitboxes for light 3, light 4. Awesome. We'll see if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Tweaked damage windows for light 4 to make it easier to connect with the weak spots. Fantastic. Mark 3 tweaked hitboxes and damage windows for light 1 and light 2. Tweaked damage windows for light 3 to make it easier to connect with weak spots. Awesome. Overall, I like it. A couple of things I'm questioning. I don't think I needed, but again, we'll see how it plays out. It just really depends on what they want their standard power of level to be, because very clearly there's a power creep since Havoc came out, and they need to settle everything and bring up other stuff up to par, remove anything that's still too strong. But again, overall direction, I like this. The Tigris Heavy Eviscerators, light strike down ADM vs Maniac from 0.5 to 0.9, holy shit. ADM vs Infested from 0.75 to 1. Removed ADM, reduction on first target vs Carapace from 0.1 to 0.25. Those are some really good buffs, like awesome. I think the Eviscerate really needs it. Light Vanguard Relentless, ups damage on secondary targets, remove damage cap after 4th target. Thank fuck. I don't know why that shit's still in the game. Heavy Vanguard, first target from 150, 300 to 165, 345. First target finesse multiplier from 0.5 to 0.4 scaling to 1. Holy shit. Up damage on secondary targets. These are some pretty good buffs, I'm not gonna lie, guys. Heavy strike down, first damage from 150, 300 to 175, 350. Great. First target ADM versus Carapace armor from 0.25 to 0.5. First target finesse multiplier from 0.5 to 0.5 scaling to 1. Light strike down special active, remove damage overrides. good. Remove finesse multiplier override. I don't know what that means actually. Light Vanguard, heavy strike down, push, follow, special active, remove damage overrides. Those should be quality of life changes. Overall, these are some really good buffs though. I was kind of hoping for a little bit more of the shock more like this, but I mean, these are really good. All marks added 0.4 seconds buffer time to the unwield input. I'm assuming that's quality of life. Heavy one chain to unwield from 0 to 0.45. Heavy one chain to start attack from 0.6 to 0.45. Heavy one chain to block from 0.7 to 0.6. These should be quality of life. Light 2 scale time from 0.85 to 0.9. Yep, sped up. Added power level multiplier 525 for heavy 2 and light 3 from default 500. Updated heavy 2 and push for low attack damage profiles on special abort. Fair enough. Updated push for low attack damage profiles on special active and special abort. Awesome. Overall, these are some pretty good buffs to the Eviscerator. I'm keen to give this a try. The Hellbore. Interesting. New charge show ADM vs Unarmored 1 to 1.1, ADM vs Maniac from 1 to 1.25, ADM vs Infested from 1 to 1.1. Fantastic. I'm keen to try some breakpoints and see where this leaves some certain builds. Far charge chart, ADM vs Unarmored from 1 to 1.25, ADM vs Infested from 1 to 1.25. Awesome. Basically 25% ADM boost. All shots finesse boost versus carapace armor from 0.1 to 0.2 versus Maniac from 0.25 to 0.35 versus unyielding from 0.25 to 0.3. Really nice because the Hellboard does actually have very good finesse scalings. Special slash, so this is the shit. Bayonet added ignore stagger reduction, first target finesse multiplier from 0.75 to 1. Pretty cool, but I mean the special slash bayonet is trash anyway. The stabs are so much better. Maybe this will make it feel better, but I don't think so. Added time scale 1.5 to wield action sped up. Cool. It's not as clunky as to pull out. Added 0.05 radius to hit scan templates. Cool. Quality of life. Buffer time for the special input from 0.2 to 0.4. Quality of life. ADS vertical field of view from 65 to 55 on the Mark 5. Interesting. So what, it's not as zoomed in, or it is more zoomed in? I'll have to see what that actually means. Chain from special start to special attack from 0.3 to 0.25. Chain from special attack to special start from 0.25 to 0.645. That should be a buff. Tweak special attack hitbox and damage window. Awesome ADS vertical field of view from 65 to 45 on the Mark 4. So I'm assuming this means it zooms it in to make it easier to aim. If I'm wrong, I'll find out soon enough. But yeah, very good. I like the direction of the Lucius. Overall, all the changes to the weapons, I think are net positives. We need them. Combat shotguns. Now this weapon's got insanely buffed this patch. Sprint template from kill shot to assault, so 0.15 to 0.4 to 0.4 to 0.8 from the forward acceleration. Sprint forward deceleration from 0.125 to 2.1. Sprint sideway acceleration deceleration from 5 to 7. Sprint speed modifier from 0.5.5 to 0.25 to 0.85. Updated stamina template from 2 to 4. Sprint cost per second from 1.25 to 1.505. Wow, this weapon just got a lot more mobile. Increased reload speed by around 10%, affecting both regular and special shells. Awesome. Zerona damage from 250-500 to 300-600. Cleave attack from 0.01 to 2 and 4. Cleave impact from 0.01 to 2 and 4. Ammo reserve from 60-80 to 70-95. Fantastic. I really like this. Agrippina damage from 200-400 to 250-480. Cleave attack 1.3 to 2.5. Cleave impact 1.3 and 2.5. So more cleave and stagger. Ammo reserve 75-95 to 80-105. Wow. Finesse boost curving shot from hipfire increased to match ADS 0.6 and 1.2 to 1.25, 2.5. These are some really good buffs, guys, I'm not gonna lie. And the Akatron damage from 450-700 to 550-740. Beautiful. I'm pretty sure that will hit certain breakpoints that I was annoyed about in the last patch. Cleave attack from 2 to 3.5, because it just needed a little bit. Anyway, cleave impact from 1 to 3. Fantastic. Range, close range, 6.8 to 6.11. Long range from 12.16 to 12.17. So a range buff. Awesome. Ammo reserve from 45.65 to 55.85. Really good. Happy with the shotgun. That really needed. It was so close to being like a solid weapon, and you had to do some funky things to get it to work in Havoc, like optimally, but like these are really good. Now you can like actually run some proper stuff and not neglect your build tree just to make this one weapon feel somewhat good in Havoc. Double barrel, pretty much nothing. ADM versus unyielding near 1 to 1.1. Far 0.5 to 0.65. Ammo reserve from 40 to 80 to 50 to 90. Fantastic. I like all of this. There's still some stuff that I think they need to work on. Like, I do think we need an updated blessings choice, more blessings across the board for weapons, and make them more in line with each other, because there's some definite discrepancies on some blessings being stronger than others, and this is across the board. Overall, I think the buffs and weapon balancing part of the patch, very good. Bug fixes and changes: fix an issue where the description for the running gun blessing was displayed incorrect prefixes. Fix an issue where Disrupt Destiny keystones sometimes fail to show stacks in the HUD. Cool, awesome. And truthfully, the rest of it is just like clipping, fixing some issues, which overall they should always be fixing any issues, so awesome, especially clipping on the cosmetics. Now that leads me to a second part of the patch. The cosmetics, well done on their Fatshark. I think those cosmetics are really good, but why the fuck is there not an Arbites cosmetic? That makes no fucking sense. I also want to touch on the fact that the commissariat has still not been updated. There's still not a bolt gun and shockmore skin from the unlocked and loaded patch this time last year. So really get onto that commissariat. We just got more weapons and they weren't put on, and the class wasn't put onto the commissariat. That's the half-baked shit that I don't like with this patch. I think with the stuff that you have changed, overall it's a net positive. There's definitely things I'm not happy with, like the release of the patch being so wonky and so shit broken for the game for a lot of people, not everyone, but for many people. Just in my own Discord, I could see people having issues. Shameless plug, check the pinned comment. But yeah, so Commodore's Vestures not getting updated, Commissariat not getting updated for the in-game currency cosmetics, no penance updates. Like, that should just be a part of a big patch like this. Like, yeah, I know you got the like normal small team blah 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 this blah 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 that, but like, if you need more time, take it. Or alternatively, instead of just giving us one big patch like this, focus on something each week or each bi-week and be like, all right, in this 2-week cycle we're going to fix the shotgun, this 2-week cycle we're going to fix the mission UI. Give us more focused fixes more often rather than just one lump dump, and then some of it's still fucking genuinely broken anyway. So yep, I'm not happy with the commissariat, no cosmetic for the Arbite, like unique one like the other classes have, and no penance updates. I think that's a little bit lazy. Now, touching on the Arbites themselves, I really like it. I think the class looks really good. I like how they're going with the talent tree. You'll notice there's 5 mini nodes, which is fantastic. That's low point tax. I can actually choose and make decisions, as opposed to the veteran who has fucking 19 points of tax on his fucking talent tree. Cunt's fucked. It's like you're going into point tax at the start of the fucking tree just for the sake of it. So I really like the way that you're doing the Ogren and Arbite talent trees. Put this into practice with Psyker, Veteran, and Zealot, because I feel like Psyker was updated too early. It was still balanced for Auric, but there's very clearly a new template for Havoc that you want to follow. So you will need to update the Psyker from the Auric template to Havoc template. I could be talking out of my ass, but this is just how I'm experiencing and noticing things. Whereas the Zealot and Veteran still have the base game template. Couple of tweaks to help the base game, but it's still not aligned with Psyker, let alone Ogren or Arbite. Just a couple of things on the talent tree itself. Razor Jaw Augment, can you make it so that applies the bleed to the target hit as well? Do I think it needs the buff? No, but I mean, it's a Razor Jaw Augment, and the cunt getting pounced and bit doesn't get the bleed stacks? That just doesn't make sense. Otherwise, no, I think everything's pretty cool. I do think Nuncio Quilla might need a little bit more stuff. Like, on paper it looks really cool, but how it plays out, I think it needs something else. Compared to like Castigator or Break the Line, I feel like Nuncio Quilla will do best when you have a veteran with Survivalist to make an actual fire base, because this is like the fire base range support Arbite. But I think it just does better as like a bruiser, if that makes sense. Good damage, but not necessarily a carry. Great tankiness, not necessarily the tank, but has enough tankiness to beef on and destroy everything. I really like that. Anywho's, I'll leave you the build that I used in this specific gameplay. A couple of tweaks that you may want to change. You can change Opportunist on the Crusher to Skull Crusher and take Concussive instead of Man and Cyber Mastiff. That's really the only tweak I'll do at the moment. I still got to test a lot of stuff, but I just wanted to give you the build that I'm actually using in this gameplay. It's pretty much a dog and explosion focus focused build. A couple of cool interactions that you need to know about. Lethal proximity, and I'm 99% sure on this one, it does affect Razor Jaw Augment because it leaves a 2-meter explosion where they pounce. Yes, it's not a big increase, but when they're pouncing every 1.5 seconds, you will notice the increased explosion radius spreading all that stuff. It does affect your remote detonation, so 25% explosion radius on remote detonation. And more importantly, if you have puncture on your bolt pistol and your remote detonation, the electrocuting effect applies bleed while your bolt pistol is in hand. So whenever you remote detonate, pull out your bolt pistol with puncture lethal proximity and absolutely just destroy whatever's next to your dog. Really powerful, really strong. I really like it. It's like a kamikaze dog. You get it in there, pull out your bolt pistol, you'll be sniping anything important, press the remote detonation, everything will get electrocuted, staggered, and get 16 stacks of bleed, like instantly. You will see it in this gameplay every now and then. If I have my bolt pistol remote detonation, just look for the bleed stacks on elites. You'll notice how quickly they go to 16. Very powerful. I also want to let you know this build is not optimized, but it's working in true solo, and I'm having a lot of fun. Damage numbers are good. Biggest things: no escape, target neutralized, up and close, razor jaw augment, men and cyber mastiff, which I don't think you need. Walk it off. You can also replace man and cyber mastiff for force of will if you just want better toughness replenishment. But what I do notice is into pretty much any enemy, I'm fine. The one time I may need toughness replenishment is when I'm against a couple of bosses or a boss or boss and horde, and I can't exactly access a lot of toughness replenishment by killing stuff because I need to focus my attacks onto the boss, which isn't giving me that toughness replenishment. And I also want my dog to attack the boss because it's applying the brittleness and good DPS. But when your dog's jumped onto the boss and you know it's attacking next to you, you can just hold out your block, get a reset, and you're still replenishing that toughness all the time. It's just a safer way to play. It's a different type of toughness replenishment that doesn't require you to put yourself at risk like force of will by opening yourself up to an attack. So yes, you'll get more net positive toughness return from force of will, but I don't need that type of toughness replenishment. It's in a worse situation where I have an unconditional access to toughness replenishment as long as I'm not pinging my dog to go away too far. Play with it, see what you like. Again, you can also go into concussive if you want to go with the skull crusher route onto the crusher. I think walk it off is just a crazy node. You're always spending stamina. You'll really like how much uptime this talent has. Remote detonation, like I said before, lethal proximity to improve that explosion radius. Arbitrator armor into voltaic, mandibles augment. So cyber mastiff electrocutes enemies attacks for 5 seconds. Just more CC, more damage. This is a dog / explosive based build, / bleed, / dart, / sick cunt. Gain 25% damage resistance for 5 seconds after elite or specialist kill. Fantastic. Extra DR combining with the DR at the top. Cyber mastiff, more DR, and it counts as coherency for the purpose of coherency regen. So you can have up to 8 coherency with a squad of arbites and their dogs. Does that really matter for coherency or a toughness replenishment? No, but it's cool. 25 toughness with plasteel plates, awesome. Now go get them versus Unleash Brutality. I think if you're not going into like the explosive based dog build, go get them is better so you can deal with the melees and it's just killing range enemies. However, because of the way the build lines up, because it's an explosive dog based build where we want to corral the enemies into as much localized AoE as possible, use the explosive puncture shock with the razor jaw augment. Unleash Brutality means the dog's going to be better positioned near you to get as much AoE into clumps of enemies, which typically is melee enemies. So that's my logic and reasoning for Unleash Brutality and how it plays in an actual game. We're going into that cleave to go into Castigator stance. This thing makes you unkillable, like borderline. You can obviously still die, but this is basically yellow toughness without yellow toughness, and you're getting movement speed. Shit's just absolutely wild. We take Writ of Execution. Each elite or specialist kill grants 5% damage lasting 10 seconds, 10 max stacks, plus 50% damage on specials or elites during Writ of Execution. So you go into Castigator stance, you do do the puncture explosive dog combo, you'll kill like 5-10 specials in that second and you just ride it out, killing anything still standing. And then Bloodlust, Cyber Mastiff has 75% damage, just adds that DPS. You'll be castigating quite a bit, adds to that boss DPS as well. Arbite Revelatum, Zealous Dedication, so the crit chance, this has a lot of uptime because it's just on kill, your dog and you are killing stuff all the time. Target Selection, killing a pounced specialist or elite grants 15% damage versus elites and specials. Now this can just be a dog killing something by itself, but again, make sure you're actually killing those pounced enemies and don't get the dog to run off a pounced enemy before killing it. Make sure stuff's dying with your pings. Cyber Mastiff applies 6 stacks of brittleness on attack, just nice to round out some weapons and make them better into carapace, which you will find annoying both in true solo and Havoc, those just random armor spams. If your build's not ready for it, it's just a run ender because it just takes so long to kill everything. Execution Order, Cyber Mastiff, 150% damage for 8 seconds after attacking a marked enemy. You gain 15% damage and 10% attack speed after killing a marked enemy for 8 seconds, and you restore 15% toughness on a marked kill. Pretty self-explanatory. This is going to be the best keystone for the dog build, simple as that. Malacator, I wouldn't leave home without this keystone without it on any of the abilities. 50% cooldown regeneration for 8 seconds after a marked heal. You're basically having 25 to 50% better uptime for your abilities. Again, no lenience depending on the weapon, 10% rending for 8 seconds after a marked kill, stacking with opportunists versus staggered enemies, which is very easy for us. Plus the Serrator more Cyber Mastiff. Any weapon we take is going to be doing well into carapace, but also reducing the damage reduction of things like Unyielding Maniac, the modifiers in Havoc, etc. 10% movement speed and damage for 5 seconds after pounce. So again, working with your dog, unless you need to kill that sniper in the distance. Justified Measures, amazing node because it also works with your dog attacks, a lot of uptime. Gain 1 effective dodge and 25% dodge duration, fantastic on slow weapons like the Crushers and Monstrosity Hunter, plus 20% damage to Ogrins and Monstrosities. I find this definitely better than Keeping Protocol. Keeping Protocol in theory is good. If you have the spare point for it and you have like the boss hunting build with a dog, you can do some crazy boss damage, but I don't think I need the point. Anywho, that's what I'm going with. Onto the weapons themselves, I'm using a Crusher with dump stat power output because I don't really use the special that much unless it's to open a Crusher, a Bulwark shield anyway. In this specific game, I went with Flak and Unyielding because it's a 3-veg true solo, more monstrosities. Slaughterer and Opportunist, I wouldn't leave home on the Crusher without Slaughterer. Because I don't have Concussive on my build, I don't think I needed Skull Crusher, even though that is an amazing blessing. And I was testing Opportunist for the 25% rending versus staggered enemies because it's a high stagger class. Also, when I do the shock on the explosive enemies, that's going to be contributing to improved dot damage with the bleed, with the shock. Slaughter also improves dot damage, so you can see how that's working together there. Slaughter and Opportunist are more so when you don't use the explosion, remote detonation. Then we have the bolt pistol with mobility dump stat. You can also do stability as a dump stat. I wouldn't dump collateral because that hits stagger breakpoints against Reapers, Maulers. So for example, without collateral at 80%, one shot will not stagger a Reaper while you're on the approach. Whereas with 80% collateral, while you're on the approach and then it turns to you and it notices you, I can tap it to stagger, and then that stagger duration is the last duration or time that I need to close the distance. It does contribute to stagger breakpoints, making it easier to approach ranged enemies or an extra safety net into melee enemies like Maulers, etc. Flacken and Armored for the best breakpoints, special into ranged enemies. Lethal Proximity for the extra explosion radius on Razor Pool Augment. 99% sure that works. I'm sure someone will correct me if it doesn't, but also more specifically on Remote Detonation. If it only affects Remote Detonation, I wouldn't go Lethal Proximity, just use Execute. And then Puncture, so when we remote detonate, make sure your bolt pistol is in hand. Every remote detonation will apply 16 stacks of bleed, just like that. Into the curios, I don't have perfect curios yet. I've already rolled 25,000 melt coins and not got a single max. I've got like 2 max curios and they were fucking a health and a wound curio, like, you know what I mean? Fucking hell. I've got 3 16% toughness curios on this build with 4% combat ability regen for Castigator stance, 5% toughness and stamina regeneration. I don't think I needed the stamina with the base stamina of the Crusher, although you can absolutely change these curios around. Experiment. The class has just come out. no one's going to know the meta for another 2-3 months until you run it in games hundreds of times with different setups to get a proper feel in game. Everyone can just theory craft on paper and be like, actually, this is meta. But you know, fuck off. It's going to take time before the meta actually develops and we get a clear example and clear idea of what's actually performing better than the other in multiple situations. But I'm very excited. I love theory crafting and build crafting. Let me know what you think of this build, and I'll leave with the true solo gameplay. Let me know what type of videos you want and think. Let me know what your thoughts on the patch and Arbites are. Catch you in the next video. God bless 07.
Master has been judged. You cannot escape! One more dead abomination! Where's the next? A girl is prowling! Loading!
Requires a reboot.
Watch out! That was nasty! Kill! Write it down! Minority 105. Maxim machine. I am the Lex's vengeance! Success minority! Kill the gunner! Stand together! Strike for the legs! The hand is gone! I am the legs! Tertium Minorix 1-4! Dead! This is a good day! Draw!